worked my job. Didn't really know what else I wanted to do. Fast forward about 10 years. And I was like, something's got to change. We got to do something different. And that's when I met Ingrid. And I also had my first child. And then I scaled from 2 to 11 properties in about 16 months.
I love that. Well, welcome back to another episode of Lessons into Blessings podcast. And we are on site today at FinCon 2024. We have, as always, we're looking for everyday investors who are changing their financial trajectory through real estate. And we have two ladies. They are from Colombia. They live in the U.S. now, but have really transformed not only their trajectory, but looking to transform the financial trajectory of the Latinx community through real estate. So we have Victoria and we have Ingrid here with us today. And so I'm going to learn a little bit more about their story and how they got started in real estate. So welcome, ladies. Thanks for joining me today.
Thank you so much for having us. We're excited.
Yeah, I see you got the Phi Tribe you're representing. So tell a little people just about how you guys met, and I know you guys have very different stories, but how you guys met and how just your journey to the U.S.
Definitely. So I'm going to start first. So what happened was that I am Colombian. I came from Colombia in 2000, pretty much. I was like 10, 11 years old. And it just happened kind of like I came here, my family emigrated just because of the violence in Colombia, how the economy was horrible and everything. So here in the US, I thought I did what I was supposed to do. Go to college. You gotta go to college, go get a corporate job, and then that's it. Work 45, 60 years and then retire. Hopefully you make it till then. But then I realized that even if you have a degree, even if you have a stable, quote-unquote, job, it doesn't guarantee that you're going to have financial security.
Yeah.
And that's what happened to my husband and I. We worked for a really big company, and then one day, they declared bankruptcy, and they laid off 70% of our department.
Wow.
We were not impacted, but a lot of our friends and colleagues were impacted by that.
Yeah.
So that night, my husband and I just sat down, and we were very shocked. And we started thinking, what can we do so we're not put in the situation where we have a job one day and the next day we don't?
Yeah.
And then our world would just be, crumble away. And just investigating into that, we ran into real estate, and we bought our first property in Atlanta. We were living in Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania.
Yeah.
Our families are rooted in Atlanta, around this area, so we decided just to buy our first property, and then the rest is history.
Yeah,
pretty
good
much.
Good stuff.
And then that's how I met, actually, Victoria. It was through social media.
Okay.
I think that's the power right now of social media, how it can connect you to people that have similar interests.
Yeah, absolutely.
And you can tell a story, Victoria.
Yeah, and I love your story. So yeah, definitely tell us your story.
Okay, well, my name is Victoria, and I'm from Colombia also. And in Colombia, I come from very humble beginnings, and that's basically the reason that we ended up immigrating. My mom and I actually ended up in Germany first. And I left Colombia when I was 5. We went to Germany, and that's where she met my stepfather, who was military, and he ended up retiring in Augusta, Georgia. That's how I ended up there.
Got it.
I did what everybody told you you're supposed to do. My mom's like, I don't care how you're doing it, but you are going to college.
Yep.
And doing that, I racked up about $99,000 in student loan debt. I'm sorry.
Yeah.
And that was traumatizing. And then somebody one day handed me a book and was The Automatic Millionaire, and that was the first time I had ever heard anything about financial education, literacy, or anything like that. And with that, Sorry.
Go for it. No, you're good.
With that, I actually bought my first property when I first graduated from college. Just somebody was put in my I'm sorry, I'm
pathway,
nervous.
Yeah,
in my pathway, and that's how I first bought my first property. And then I did it again, and then I stopped. I had those rented. This kind of helped me with my income. Worked my job. Didn't really know what else I wanted to do. Fast forward about 10 years. And I was like, something's got to change. We got to do something different. And that's when I met Ingrid. And I also had my first child. And then I scaled from 2 to 11 properties in about 16 months.
I love that. I love that. It's funny because both of our communities, I grew up in a community, my mom's Jamaican, and so, same thing, like go to school, get a good job, she was big into education, and unfortunately, they don't tell you like that job is not going to take you to that wealthy place, right? That job is going to keep you affording your bills, right? Maybe saving a little bit. And so what is it, some of the things that you guys did to make sure that you could have enough to really invest in real estate? What were some of the strategies you used?
So something that was really big for my husband and I think this is very important, is that the most important decision you make is who you choose to marry. And I think it's like financial problems are the number one cause of divorce. So I think like my husband and I, when we first met, we had a very similar mindset on money. We did not want to work forever. We love traveling as well.
Yeah.
So something very key for us was having no lifestyle creep. That was super important.
That's big, lifestyle creep.
And I don't think people, even our families, they're like,
Yeah.
oh, why are you guys living there? Why are you guys renting? Why do you guys buy a bigger house? Why don't you guys have a nicer car?
Yeah.
And they didn't know what we had in mind. Like they couldn't understand
Yeah.
the plan that we had in mind. So we bought a 2011 car that we drove for like 15 years. Like we lived in this house that it was cute, but it wasn't to the standards that our
Yeah,
families
yeah.
wanted for us. Technically, oh, you guys are engineers, you guys can afford a better house and this and that. So for us, it was key to not let our promotions, our increase in salary, take over our life.
Yeah.
We didn't have any of that, and people couldn't understand it
Yeah.
back then.
Yeah.
Now they see the results of that. They
Yeah.
see that we are financially free. My husband keeps working. He loves what he does. He is a nerd. He loves what he does. I retire by choice about 2-3 years ago. I could have retired like my 30s, like early 30s, late 20s.
That's beautiful.
But I loved what I did too, until a point where I realized I cannot grow both our real estate and our legacy and keep working for someone else. So at that
That's
point, I
good.
decided to retire and just focus on real estate fully. But I think that was key for us, is like make sure that my husband and I were in sync with our mindset about money and no lifestyle creep.
That's beautiful. I mean, just being able to live below your means, drive the car until the wheels fall off because it's a depreciating asset.
Yeah.
So that was very wise of you. And now you're able to have the ability. You're a real estate professional,
Yep.
and he's working, so you can help write off his W-2
Yes.
income, which is a beautiful strategy.
Yes.
And just being able to, for you, he can continue to bring the income in to help dump into
Yeah.
properties while you're working the assets. That's beautiful.
Yeah.
Now, Victoria, I'm going to ask you a little bit, because I remember you telling me just you were waitressing at one point, right? And just being able to change your trajectory going from 2 to 11. It's beautiful to have inspiration and have people that can kind of help you get along the journey. What is the thing that you believe, reading the book, or what's the thing that clicked for you, that just a mindset shift that helped you kind of just like elevate and just like, yeah, we're going for this?
Yes, lifestyle creep is so real. And honestly, reading that book, like I said, that was the first literacy that I ever received. And in that book, it was basically about automating the savings and paying off debt. And I feel like that's what really helped me. My first house, my rent was $500. My mortgage, I'm sorry, it was
Yeah,
$500.
yeah.
But guess what? Back then, $500 was still a lot for me, but I'm like, okay, how can I save? How can I still be able to enjoy life and meet my goals? So I was house hacking before house hacking was cool.
Yeah.
I didn't realize what I was doing then, so I was renting out rooms to other college students,
That's it.
and then that way I could still afford to have a lifestyle and not be eating ramen noodles every night, which is
Right.
nothing wrong with that, but I
Yeah.
didn't want that for myself.
Right.
So that book definitely changed my life. And budgeting. You got to live. You got to live how you want to live in the future. You got to do things now so you can later live how you want to live.
Yeah, understood. Like making the sacrifices now so you can live how you want to live.
Correct.
I do love that you, number one, did the house hacking strategy, which is what I did too. I had a roommate, let them continue to pay, their rent, pay the mortgage, so I could continue to stack money to invest. So that's a great strategy. How do you guys, what's one thing that you would tell investors today? What's the one thing that they should do if they're, because you guys came from different places. You had an engineering degree, and you still had a degree, but you were still like, I'm just kind of cutting it. How do I really make the difference? And I tell people it's not about the income you make, it's about what you do with that income.
Yep.
And so you were able to say, okay, how much can I carve out so that I can continue to incrementally automatically save or whatever. You did the systems that you needed to do because you knew how you were, right? And so to set you up to kind of make that difference. What tips would you give people that are just like jumping into the field, whether they're making engineering salary, they're making a high salary or a median salary? What is kind of the best strategy you could give them to just start?
I would say something that at least I noticed kind of like in the Latino community is that we are afraid to invest in ourselves. Especially we think it's like, oh, you know, 5,000, 6,000 is too much for me. I'm going to go ahead and get all this information for free from YouTube and stuff like that. I think something that was pivotal for my growth was investing in a mastermind at that time that opened my eyes to other investments. Because I was like, oh, single family, yeah, but I'm going to need like 100 single families.
Yeah.
Like, it's a lot of work. Then I finally bit the bullet and I was like, I'm going to just invest $5,000 in this mastermind. And I told my husband, I don't know if it's worth it, blah, blah, blah. It's so much money. It takes money to make money.
That's real.
And it's not an expense, it's an investment. And if you approach that with that mentality of like, this is an investment, and I'll let you know that $5,000 has made me over $35,000 in less than a year.
That's it.
And I was just like, and that's where I found apartment complexes, how you can invest passively in syndications. I had no idea that was even a opportunity that I could take as a woman, as a Latina person. Like, I didn't know. I was like, I thought it was only big corporations own all those nice apartment complexes. It was eye-opening when I found out a 30-something-year-old girl in a room full of like white males, I can be an owner of a self-storage, land, coffee grounds, or campuses.
So many opportunities.
Oh my gosh.
So many opportunities.
And then I can go ahead and do that, and they'll give me money passively back, and I can take advantage of the taxes, the depreciation, and everything. And I show Victoria that like I get money every quarter. And I'm like, oh, I just got this money. And my husband, what is that? I think that's the apartment complex we invested in.
Exactly.
And it's like, that is game changer. And you don't need to be rich. You can start with as low as 5,000, 10,000, 20,000, depends on the syndication.
Yeah, definitely.
And you don't need to be a accredited investor, like a rich person. It can be your mom and dad that has money in their 401k or the IRA or something.
And that's so beautiful. I mean, the partnership, right? We talk about partnership. We talk about a lot about community here. I mean, it's so important to get with the right community that you resonate with. Not all communities are for you. So it's really important to find, and sometimes it takes a while, you know, to find that right community. But then you're talking about active and passive strategies. You guys are doing some active things and now realizing, oh, all this active income that I'm making, I can also put those into deals where I don't have to work it. I could be doing double time. I could have some things working for me passively and then also be working my own active deals. So that's a game changer as well. So I get that.
Like Ingrid said, invest in yourself. Something that I did, one of the reasons why I was house hacking was because I decided to go back to school and I got a nursing degree.
That's cool.
And so I was making more money. And that is what propelled me to be able to pay off everything, to be able to save, to have money, to start investing. And once I knew I was ready, and when I say ready, I had some money to invest, what she said, I found a mastermind. I went on Instagram, I started talking to people, I started seeing what the options were, and joining that mastermind was the best thing because I could ask people who've done things, you know, things that I don't know. You don't know everything.
That's real.
So, you know, I started asking questions, and everyone, that's one thing. I was scared that people were going to try to gatekeep. But no, everyone's been so helpful, willing to give information, and that's how I got where I am, and that's what I want to contribute to my community. I want to do that.
I love that. Okay, so I have a question for you. Because you went from 2 to 11, what were like the systems or things that you used to kind of help you just continue to do it back to back to back? What was your kind of like strategy on that?
So at the very beginning, I was trying to do it just in my name. Something I learned is do it in an LLC. With that LLC, I had a house. I bought a house that needed to be fixed a lot. It was like $50,000-$60,000. I put about $20,000-$30,000 into it, and then the bank reappraised it, and they reappraised it at $220,000. Wow. So I was able to take that money, cash out, refi, and buy another one.
Nice.
Repeat, rinse and repeat. That is what I did.
So you use the BRRRR strategy.
Yeah.
I love it. I love it. And you got into a market where at your price point. So you had to define your buy box, what fit for you, okay, based upon the amount I could put down, this is a strategy that works for me? How did you determine that strategy? I'm just curious.
Accident.
Oh, really? Okay.
Well, just again, so I actually met a gentleman, a guy, and he wasn't even trying to be a coach. He was a real estate agent, and he called me trying to buy my house. When you get those phone calls, hey, you own this house. Are you willing to sell it? And for whatever reason, I'm not rude to people, but I'm like, no, but he started talking to me. He's like, I'm actually in Augusta, Georgia. And then I was like, well, I'm not looking to sell because I'm an investor myself, even though I had never bought a property for investment reasons.
Yeah.
And he was like, well, I would love to help you. I'm a real estate agent also. And I said, okay, wonderful. When I get to Augusta, I'm going to call you. And I called him and he was like, let's go look at these properties. We looked at like 10 and he goes, no, this is it. This is the one you want to buy. And I don't know why I trusted him. I mean, he had street cred, but and that was like the best property that I'd bought.
Dope.
And and he helped me. And then after that one, he's like, Victoria, I'm too busy doing me. And he wasn't being rude, but and I thank him. When I hit my 1 year mark, I called him. I hadn't talked to him in like 6 months, 8 months.
Yeah.
But I'm like, let me tell you what I did and thank you, and yeah.
I love that. I love that. That's so beautiful. And the reality is, and the reason why we have lessons into blessings and all that is just so many people have so many excuses. There is no excuse. You know what I mean? Like, get with the right people, find your community, and just get to work. We don't know all this. You know what I mean? Like, nobody has all the answers. And sometimes just taking that first step, it feels so scary. But it's like, once you take that first step, you're like, why didn't I do this sooner?
Before.
Exactly. So we never end off Lessons into Blessings without just understanding what are the lessons in your life, or maybe the trials that you've had to go through that help change the trajectory of your life. It could be a lesson in real estate, or just a lesson in your life that you've been able to apply to real estate. I'll start with you, Ingrid.
You cannot do this alone. I'm very grateful for my husband. He's always been there. And in real estate, I'm grateful for like multiple mentors and people that, like Victoria said, I have encountered some that they gatekeep, but the ones that are not like that, they just share everything. There's so much abundance. There's enough for everyone.
There is.
And definitely a community, my family, you cannot go at this, you cannot become wealthy by yourself.
Yeah.
It takes a community.
That's
and
real.
It starts at home and whoever you interact with. Much.
That's good. It's a good one.
I know.
Don't feel you got to top it, what I mean?
No, I think my lesson is this, my 2 to 11, because I didn't do this until I had kids, and I didn't think I could do this as a woman, just in general. I didn't think I could do this, but I did. So my lesson and what I want to teach my community is that you can do this as a woman. You don't have to make a lot of money. You just have to get on a budget, find the money. And as a mom, you can do this.
Yeah.
So this is the lesson, and I want to share it.
I love it. Okay, so how can people get in touch with you if they're trying to connect, if they're in the areas that you guys are in, the Phi Tribe? Where's the Phi Tribe at anyway?
We're like mainly like across the U.S., but mainly the southeast.
Okay.
So Georgia,
Cool,
Florida,
cool.
Alabama, yes.
So tell people how they can get in touch with you guys.
I am big in social media, so you can follow me at Engineer on Fire. My name is Ingrid.
The FI Tribe is also online, and we have meetings every week online. So definitely check us out.
Yeah.
My name is Victoria. I am not big in social media yet, but I'm working on that. But my Instagram is Victoria E. Roldan. And please, ask questions.
I love it. And as always, you can find us at Lessons into Blessings on Instagram or YouTube. Guys, until next time, stay blessed.